Hello, my lovies. Welcome back to My True Life, where we archive, journal, and document to make sure that we create our true lives, aka the lives we want to live, or at least work towards it. And I've been away for a week because I wasn't feeling my best, and I only want to make videos when I do feel good. So here we are with my commonplace book, which doesn't look very fancy. I wish it was. I might later on invest in a leather binder with rings, but for now we have this one that I got from AliExpress. I thought it would be fun to do a flip through so that you can discover what a commonplace book is and if it is for you, and if so, you can make one. If not, you can try something else. All right, let's do this. So first things first, maybe you're like, girl, what is a commonplace book? Does it have to look like this? No. This is simply my first commonplace book, so I didn't buy a very expensive leather binder. I just went on AliExpress and Googled a 6-ring binder, A5 size, and I found this one. It came with these loose leaves and this ruler that I just kept in here. But you may have seen that other people have commonplace book also in the form of flashcards, and then they put quotes on the flashcards or ideas or inspiration, and then they put flashcards in several boxes, and every box has like a certain subject or a theme. But I personally really like the commonplace book idea because I like documenting in book form. So this is why I chose this one. And so what I would love to do is if I finish this first commonplace book, I would like to invest in a leather binder, maybe by Plotter, Japan. Have you seen those ones? Oh my God, they were so beautiful. Anyway, in a commonplace book, which has been around since, I think, after Christ, like a century after Christ, somewhere there, the old Greek philosophers were already using something like a commonplace book. So it literally is what it says it is. It is a commonplace, so a place where you often come. In this case, it's in the form of a book, hence commonplace book. And in your commonplace book, you can track all of your ideas, your inspirations, things you've learned. And I personally like that because, as you may be able to tell, I come across a lot of things that I want to remember. But if I'm honest, I cannot remember everything that is in my brain. I mean, it's somewhere in there, in my mainframe, in my universe. But if I want to know it like right now, it usually is really hard to bring it back to the surface and my consciousness. I sound like a total computer addict, but I have absolutely no idea how that all works. But let's just say you stored something in your iPhone cloud and then you can't find it and you need it, you're frustrated. And so it's the same thing with your head. You store information, you can't find it, you get frustrated, and you lose your momentum when you, for exactly, want to do something. So that's why I put everything in my commonplace book. So sometimes it can look like this. So this is more like a collage, and this quote was from a magazine. It says, Dapper, which means brave in Dutch. And it says, if we choose fear above courage, we have so much more to lose. And I was like, what? What a nice quote. I do not want to forget that. If I see this quote, it reminds me that fear is just a feeling and I just can't keep on going if I make sure that I don't get stuck in the fear. So as you may be able to tell, I created this entry on December 6th, 2020. That is my first commonplace book entry. This is my first commonplace book, so I'm still figuring out how I want this whole system to work. But that is why I have a 6-ring binder, because if I want to, I would be able to take out these sheets and rearrange them according to theme. I could put little dividers in here and make sure everything is according to a certain style or a certain theme or a certain thought. So that's why I like the ring binder version. So obviously it doesn't always have to look like this, but let's do a little flip through so you can get an idea of what you could do with a commonplace book. So I use my commonplace book not just to store ideas, inspirations, and things I want to remember, learn, or revisit later, but as you can see, I also turn it into like a little creative project because sometimes I need to process my thoughts and my day and the thing I just learned just like this quote about fear, and I like marinating it in my brain by creating something on the page, like a collage. So something I do really appreciate is my date stamp. You have seen this little baby in many of my videos because this is a commonplace book, and I want to document when I figured something out, when I learned something, how, when, where, what. So usually I put at least a date so that I can track my own my own learning process or my own creativity. And I think that's really important for people who have many thoughts and ideas and have a hard time organizing that without using any organizing system except for their brain, which becomes very hard. So I have a lot of quotes. I also have a lot of inspirational pictures. Sometimes I write down things that I experienced and that I think are important to remember for the future. Sometimes it's also just a vibe. I have a really good example of that. So, for example, this page, this is not like a quote or anything. It has absolutely no interesting information. It is just a vibe. Okay, so this is a picture of a Clinique blush, like a blush for your cheeks. So Clinique sells these round blushes, and then they imprint the blush, like the powder, with like a flower press. And so this was actually a picture of the blush in a magazine for women, and I just cut it out and I put it on the page. And so the reason why I did this is because when I saw these flower prints in this particular color, it made me feel like something. And I was like, I would love to incorporate this color in my house one day or in an outfit. So I want to show you that a commonplace book does not always have to be about information, inspiration, or processing interesting things. It can also just be a vibe or a feeling that you want to revisit later in the shape of like I said, like a picture or an illustration. So it doesn't always have to be dry information, if you will. So yeah, that is a vibe. This was also more of a vibe. I did actually add some more things that I was thinking about at the moment. And so here are some quotes. I am a lion. That is my, my star sign. So Leeuw means lion in Dutch. And it says, if this isn't the year of love, then the planets just don't know it anymore. And I thought it was a funny quote because I haven't dated in ages. So sometimes I also add funny things. And I also tried making sure that I attract money easily, apparently. I thought, let me give the, manifesting thing a try. But honestly, I don't just like putting pictures on a page. I like doing things. So I also use a commonplace book to make sure that I don't forget my goals sometimes. So sometimes when I feel a little low and I'm not inspired enough to really be active about what I want to achieve, I just look in my commonplace book and I was like, oh, I was working on a way to attract money more easily instead of working hard all the time. And then just seeing this image, it reminds me of how I want to feel and spend my days, and it just motivates me back into creating a new product for my company that allows me to attract money a little bit more easy, because I don't mind working hard, but girl, I'm getting old. So, and this is another vibe page. It says Zen on Sunday, like food for your soul. It's just a vibe. But it can also be a little bit more information based and not very, as you can see, a lot of collages. They don't have to have collages, by the way. So let me find a page that just has some dry information. So this is a very simple commonplace book page. It is a quote by Seth Godin. If you are in marketing or you do something with marketing and sales, you know that Seth Godin is like the marketer on the planet that you want to learn from. And he said in a podcast, because I wrote down Seth Godin on the Lewis House podcast, number 1027. And he said, when in doubt, look for the fear. If people are giving you a hard time about flow and motion, where is the fear? If you are finding yourself blocked, where is your fear? If you knew you were going to fail, what would you do? And it triggered something in me that I never want to forget, because I sometimes am stunned by fear. And to realize that it's just a feeling and that you can get over that feeling and then start becoming proactive again and get shit done, it really resonated with me. But I didn't have a lot of time because I was at work, so I just created a really simple entry so that I can never forget that I can go back and listen to podcast 1027 by Lewis Howes and hear Seth Godin say this again. So this is how simple a commonplace book can be. It's not fancy at all. My handwriting sucks, but I know that this was a quote that I don't want to forget, and I know where to find the whole podcast episode again. So this is how simple it can be, and you decide how fancy you want to make it. So for example, this is also like a pretty simple list. It's about the shows I love. There are a few shows that I've watched over and over again, like Gilmore Girls, New Girl, Gossip Girl, Bob's Burgers. And I was just documenting when they were released. So Gilmore Girls from 2000 to 2007. I binged that show like 4 or 5 times. So I wanted to remember all of the shows that I love to watch when I need a little pick-me-up. So that's also a way you can use your commonplace book to write down all of the things that make you happy or that you love to do. Because let's be honest, sometimes we get so wrapped up in daily life, we forget what it's like to be us. Just being and just doing whatever you love. Because honestly, we work too much. So this was another take on trying to create a page where I can write down what I really want to see. So these are magical movies. And of course, Howl's Moving Castle is in there. Usually when I make these journal videos and I want to make an ASMR version of it, I put Howl's Moving Castle on, I put my headphones on, and I listen to it as I create my collages and my setups. And so yeah, that's what I'm doing when I am creating my ASMR journaling videos. And I thought it would be fun to, like, instead of writing all of the movies down like I did here on the page before, I just threw them into pictures and stickers. How cool is that? So yeah, and then this was a quote, and it said that it's strange that some people think that if you are a leader, you have to be flawless. It makes no sense. It is impossible. I was like, oh, that is a very interesting quote, because, for example, when I make these videos, I feel like I constantly have to make the perfect journal videos. But, you know, if everything was so perfect, you wouldn't want to watch this because it doesn't feel like you and me talking. Sometimes, you know, imperfection is perfection. So I wanted to make sure that I remember that. And I put the date, and above this picture there was already written down who wrote it, so I don't have to do that myself, but at least I know when I found it, and it was on November 13th. Sometimes it's just a little picture collage like this. I am the keeper of my peace. Things that I need to remember. This was from a YouTube video by Dan Coe. He was talking about how to create a one-person business. I was like, this kid has some knowledge. So yeah. And then my last entry was on November 28th. And I think I have to make some new entries because I learned a lot more. I still have some papers left. So I still have to fill all of these up. And I think after that, because I already filled up all of these pages. I did a lot of commonplace booking, you guys. So yeah, after this one fills up, I'm going to put it away and hopefully be able to invest in a plotter planner, because the plotter Japan planners or the covers are made of leather, and I just love being able to collect my own commonplace books in a leather form, in a leather ring binder. I feel like that would just add so much more to the feeling and how serious I take this, because I do take commonplace booking very seriously. I love archiving and documenting things, and I hope this gave you like boost of inspiration to see if you can dump your brain and all of the things that you find important or that you discover on a daily basis and put them away in your commonplace book. And my commonplace book is literally on my desk every day. So if I feel like I am losing my motivation or I need that pick me up that a certain quote or a piece of information gave me, I will just grab my commonplace book. I will flip through it and I'll just read. For example, this one is about not having opinions is also okay. And I'm like, yeah, that is okay. I don't have to have an opinion about everything. I don't have to have thoughts or answers for everything. And just reading back can just calm me down and just call a client and say, look, man, you asked me a question, don't know what it is, but let me refer you to someone who does. And that's how I use my commonplace book. It is inspiration, it is motivation, it's organizing all of the things I never ever want to forget. And it's making sure that I document them all in a way that is accessible whenever I need it. So that is my commonplace book. I hope you guys liked it. If you want to see more about commonplace booking or want to see me do a video on how I create my commonplace book, because I am not fully satisfied by the way I'm commonplace booking now. For example, I forgot to put a date here, but I want to start putting dates, locations, and some more information because I really want it to become like a little library, basically. So yeah, if you have any suggestions about how I could improve my commonplace book, because I am also not an expert, this is just me trying something, but I happen to like it and I want to pass it on to you because I know a lot of creative people watch my YouTube channel and I know a lot of you are constantly willing to learn and it's really hard to, remember all of the information you have. So try out a commonplace book, see if it is for you. If it's not, it's okay too. And if you like this video in any way, shape, or form, send me some love, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Have an amazing Sunday. I'll see you in March. Yeah, I'll see you in March. Okay, that's it. Goodbye.